It's 25 degrees in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily, or Daily Dose of Sunshine. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
I am Akine. Good morning and welcome to the program. It's 27 degrees here in Lagos and the day is June 19, 2025. Just so you remember, it's a Wednesday morning. No, is it a Wednesday morning? No, it's a Thursday morning.
It's Thursday, Ayo. Don't take us back, please. We're not going back. Well, it is Thursday morning, and it's a day after President Bola Tinubu's visit to Benue State, as he did say he will visit. I mean, he went on a condolence visit to the people of Benue State, and of course, by extension, I guess, to Nigeria, to address the incessant, or that particular incident, the tragic incident that happened on the night of is it the 12th, 8th to 9th of June this year? Quite a very, intractable situation we found in Benue. The president did not mince words when he landed in the state. He went to the state's teaching hospital to visit those who have been hurt, who survived the attacks. And in his speech, he did reflect, some of the things that he noticed, asking the governor to announce that there needs to be more voluntary blood donations. And then there was a town hall meeting where he met with traditional rulers of Benue State, as well as other very key stakeholders. Governors from surrounding states were also there, as well as the chairman of the Progressives Governors Forum, Governor Hope Uzodinma. I think they had a pretty frank conversation, at least from what we were able to gather. The tour chief who spoke to the president, he did not mince words on what he believes, what the people of Benue believe they've been currently going through. And the president offered them words of reassurance, and he also took his security chiefs to task, calling them by name and asking, for some arrests. Where are the arrests? He's surprised that no arrest has been made. Commending them where need be, and then asking for more to be done. But he believes that the tragedy in Benue State can be turned to prosperity. But that was the situation as reported by our correspondents, and as also captured by our cameras yesterday, because we were there live on the ground, bringing the situation to you and giving you a blow-by-blow account. Well, today, Lagos is going to be hosting the bulk of the conversation, and I'm sure that much later we'll also be bringing you a statement by the governor of Lagos State, on a briefing done by the Nigeria Governors Forum.
He offers words of sympathy and solidarity to the injured, many of whom are battling life-threatening wounds. Elsewhere in Makurdi, the new banquet hall of the Benue State Government House is packed to capacity. Dignitaries present include traditional rulers, led by the Tortiv, service chiefs, federal and state lawmakers, as well as APC national chairman and key cabinet ministers. President Tinubu enters the hall alongside Governor Hyacinth Alia as the high-level stakeholders meeting begins. Opening the conversation on the tragic killings in Benue State, the Tortiv delivers a solemn appeal to President Tinubu.
What we are dealing with in Benue is a calculated, well-planned, full-scale genocidal invasion and land-grabbing campaign by header terrorists and bandits, which has been on for decades and is worsening every year. Wrong diagnosis will always lead to wrong treatment. So we are dealing with something far more sinister than we think about. It's not learning to live with your neighbors. It is dealing with a war. We appeal to you to end the genocide going on in Benue State and the insecurity in all parts of Nigeria. We know you are capable of doing it, sir.
If not, we'd say this more than this.
Governor Alia then mounts the podium with an appeal to the federal government to establish state police and an intervention fund following the fresh wave of killings in the north central state.
While we continue to mourn our losses and rebuild from the ashes of pain, we humbly urge the federal government to consider establishing a special intervention fund for communities affected by these incessant attacks in Benue State. Such a fund would go a long way in supporting the rehabilitation of the displaced persons, rebuilding of destroyed infrastructure, and restoring the livelihoods of our farmers and families whose lives have been upended.
President, Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Having listened attentively to the voices in the room, President Tinubu turned his focus to the nation's security chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, issuing firm directives, posing pointed questions, and demanding swift accountability.
I give you the assurance that we will find peace. We will convert this tragedy to prosperity. Again and again, police, I hope your men are on alert to listen to information. How come no arrest is being made? I expect there should be arrests of those criminals. Christopher, thank you very much. I watch your comments, and we need to keep our ears to the ground. Let's get to those criminals. Let's get them out.
As the dust settles in Makurdi, President Tinubu's visit leaves behind not just words, but weighty expectations for action, for justice, and for healing.
Countless issues to raise from that conversation, and the fact that the president asked the IGP, not reading the script, but taking on his own security men and asking them, let's do the needful about this. It raises a lot of questions, not just in Benue, but in different parts of the country, and Lagos no less. That's why this morning we have with us in the studio the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Mr. Olondare Jimo. He joins us here in the studio. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, of all the years that you have spent, in the force, what's different about Lagos?
Thank you so much. Lagos is a center of excellence, and all security agencies that we are working in synergy. Know that also to let you know that the police is the lead in internal security arrangement and in ensuring safety and security of all Lagosians, and including visitors alike. And we are playing that role effectively and efficiently. And we have no any other reason than to key into the excellence of Lagos. And we have been doing that. And that is why I want the Lagosians to know that we are doing our best, and security in Lagos is very, very good and perfect for everybody.
A good number of people always say that Lagos has kind of had it good over the years. But if you, from the time that you have been in office in Lagos, what would you say are the primary challenges, the most critical security issues that you would say Lagos in particular is dealing with?
Thank you so much. When I came on board, the security situation in Lagos is not alarming at all. and we are built on the successes of our predecessors to ensure that we introduce new ideas and we bring in new impetus into ensuring security and safety of all Lagosians. Mind you, there are a lot of huge investment of federal and state government, and equally both international and local investors in Lagos. And the state government have been very, very strong support system for the security agencies, not only the police force, but other security and safety agencies that are complementing the policing sector and safety in Lagos. So that is huge. Outside that, the Lagos State has a structure in place. You know, we have the RRS, we have tactical squad, we have other that funded and assisted by Lagos State government. So when I came on board, I discovered that traditionally when we have any flash of incident, we pull out our patrol team from where they're strategically positioned to address that, and they return back. So I came on board with the formation of what we call the Eco Strike Force. The Eco Strike Force is an intervention force. They are all made up of mobile police team to ensure that they can move in easily to quell any threat that may have throughout Lagos State. They are hub in Surulere, which is that make them have easy access to the Lagos mainland and the Lagos Island at the time. And they have been intervening when we have issue of court disturbance at Yabatek, and it has been traditional that anytime they are having exam, they have court classes, they intervene in time, and the exam was held peacefully. For a lot of international engagement that we have had from 5th of May to 16th of May, all the justices of ECOWAS Court who are here in Lagos, the occasion was shared by the CGI, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and it went smoothly. Then we equally back-to-back had the meeting of the head of state and government of ECOWAS. Virtually all of them were here in Lagos, and it was held successfully. And the President and Commander-in-Chief of Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Ahmed Ashwaju Bola Tinubu, equally commissioned a lot of projects that have to do with the coastal road, the Lekki road linking the port, and other investment around there. And it was equally held peacefully. You know, we have political campaign or political party equally going on. The primaries were held. It was held peacefully. And as we dovetail into the campaign arrangement, it equally held peacefully. That is not just by chance. It's because of consistent execution of our security arrangement, which is out of adequate planning. So Lagos is secure and safe. And I want to equally let Lagosians know that we are not sleeping on our oars. Me, I don't sleep, including other service commanders that are here. We carry out a joint operation in most of the cases, and we ensure that we get to the bad boys before they can unleash terror. The tactical squad that constitute the undercover teams for the state were 21 when I came, but I've expanded them to 30 to cover the nook and cranny of the state. So it's peaceful throughout Lagos.
Well, there cannot but be some concerns. There is this recent information where the Lagos State government, and the Lagos State House of Assembly invited you to answer some questions around some court-related clashes. But let's take a look at this report that gives us some background into that issue of cultism in Lagos.
A normal day on the campus of City University of Technology, formerly known as Yaba College of Technology in Lagos State. The killing of a final year students by a rival cult group on Tuesday, April 22, will stay with members of the university community for a long time. The situation was so severe that the police deployed a special intervention force to stop further attacks and sustain peace on campus.
The fear of crime is worse than the crime itself. When I resumed, I've quickly introduced what we call the Eco Strike Force. The Eco Strike Force is a new idea. This is to complement the already existing RRS, which is an elite police team that have been doing wonders in Lagos State. So with the Eco Strike Force, we've been able to have a firm grip on control of crime and criminality in the state.
These officers succeed in calming frayed nerves and give assurances that examinations will be completed.
I want to employ Lagosians generally, especially parents and guardians, to employ it on their children and wards. They need to be law-abiding and to be peaceful. And institutions too have a role to play to ensure that they watch over their subjects and ensure that they comply with the law. And nobody is allowed to take laws into his hand.
Even with the conclusion of examinations, the school management insists that all students must leave campus till further notice as the Eco Strike Force team reports back to their base in Surulere to deal with other high-priority criminal activities.
It seems that this wasn't able to arrest the issue of the cult-related clashes, because the Lagos State House of Assembly invited you for a conversation on the one in Mushi.
Thank you so much. Let me take it from before you go to the report that was asked to come for question. No. I think they have reached out to us and they said there's a need for us to work together to know which area they can be of assistance in respect of the effort that we are making to put all the issue of court-related issue completely stamp it out in Lagos State. That of Mushin was properly addressed. At the initial stage, we have 23 suspects, and these are people that you call teenagers between the age of 14 to 16, that they don't go robbing, but they go stealing phones from people, going to shop, attacking them from. So we're moving swiftly, and we arrested 23 of them. Subsequently, we carry out a prompt raid of the entire area, and we quickly arrested additional 18. All of them have been remanded to juvenile custody as we speak. And I want you to know that prevention is what I dwell on most of the time with my officer. Prevention of crime, prevention and control of crime, and management is the key thing, because where you don't go out to prevent, and even the Coast Rifles are part of the prevention strategy. So the House of Assembly invited us so that we can rub mind on the issues, because when you are tackling issue of courtisms, it's in the year past that you'll be thinking that if you dole out some palliative to a group of people who are considered to be courtists, be able to solve it. Nowadays, people don't go into courtism because they don't have house to live, or because they don't have, they are jobless, or because they don't have where to go. You see now that crops of people that are courtists are artisans who have something meaningful to do. There are people who are equally, one way or the other, connected to one family member that have something of doing. So it's just for us to look for apart from we fighting them, getting them arrested and prosecuting them, to look for other area where there can be social intervention. I think that's the main reason why we are invited. But we are not invited for questioning, because the House of Assembly leadership are quite familiar with what we are doing to ensure that Lagos is safe. But where you have one or two flashes, actually we've been there with completely. And as I speak with you, since the incident about 2 weeks ago, we've not had any single incident of court-related issue throughout the state. And I make bold to say that for the past 1 week now, I've been reporting no any serious crime committed throughout Lagos State. That is not just by chance. It's because of we are not sleeping and we are on top of our game. So we welcome the invitation, and we know it's going to provide the opportunity to be able to impress it on them, and equally let them get the information, because I won't say I want to educate them. No, they are representative of the people, and they know what is in the offing when it comes to security issue. But we want them to play their own role too, as people who are closer to the grassroots in impressing it on the youth and the community.
Now, you said something about prevention, that you always dwell on prevention. And I have raised this issue with a good number of people, that the primary responsibility of the police, to the best of my understanding, based on the functions of the police that I have seen, is prevention. But it would seem like in most cases the crime would have happened, and it seems like we are unable to get hold of them in some cases. So how does that happen? How do we enforce the prevention? I heard you talking to parents to rein in their children and their wards in schools and all of that, but beyond that, what else can be done to prevent any of these crimes and criminalities?
Thank you so much once again. You know, when we talk of prevention, for those crimes that couldn't be prevented, there's prompt detection to serve as deterrence to others. For anyone who would be a suspect that want to commit crime, if you know that once you commit a crime, you are going to be promptly apprehended, then definitely you have a second thinking about it. But most of the violent crimes in the state are prevented. But there's a violence that are related to possibly neighbor to neighbor or husband to wife, spouse to relatives and things like that. So it will be difficult. Police is not a soothsayer or a spirit to know that when two people sleep together in the same house, one will wake up in the middle of the night and attack the others, or there'll be an altercation within compound that people are living and it will sprawl into violence. So for those crimes that are related to that, because you can even get to know nowadays that even father to the children, and even the children killing the fathers. So how do you get to know that? Until when we get an information that so thing is about to happen or they are in the process of it, our response time response to crime is less than 10 minutes. We have even reduced it for that to like 5 minutes. Once you call us, under 5 minutes we are there, and that is why we want people to equip us. I've given my several forums, giving out my phone number to people for them to reach us, and I'm not still going to hesitate to give it out again so that people can reach me directly or go to the nearest police station to complain. So those violence that you notice are interpersonal between family members, husband to wife, or children to their father, because we have even people of teenage age are quite like up to 8 in Pantina being detained for killing their parents and for killing their spouses. So those one, we can prevent it once we get to know that there's conflict between the family. And that is why even if a matter is civil in nature, we say intervene, and the process of policing or taking record is clearly spelled out. When the matter comes to you, you look at it and you refer if it is civil and advise the people involved to go and take civil action in respect of that. But you don't just dismiss the matter, because when you dismiss the matter without listening and you say, well, it's civil, you can go away, then it's going to go back and give you what is criminal. So, and that is why, like you said, part of our responsibility, crime prevention and control, is one of the responsibilities that we have. But that is not the entire thing. Law enforcement in general is quite a number of things that we prepare and make sure that we act on actionable intelligence to be able to rake in criminal before they commit atrocities.
Talking about criminalities and all, we know that Lagos is always flooded on a daily basis by people from different parts of the country. A lot less number of people leave the city compared to those who come into the city. And we've heard over time that one of the things that makes people leave their city is such situations as may happen in the Plateau. There was a time it was from Kano and people were just flooding out of their cities to come to Lagos. What is happening in Benue? There are allegations that all those people, you know, that are having difficulties in their various states will just continue to flood into Lagos. Is there a conversation between you and maybe fellow CPs to ensure that, you know, at least there's relative peace in their localities so that they don't belabor your own jurisdiction, so to speak?
Thank you so much. We have a very working synergy with the Commissioner of Police that are contiguous to Lagos State under the leadership of the AIG Zone 2. And that we'll be meeting on a regular basis to fine-tune those arrangements. The city of Lagos is a city of over 22 million people, and the number is still counting. Because like you say, on a daily basis, people getting from across the country into Lagos, and mostly they don't go back because they feel this is where they can get their problems solved in terms of welfare and finances and other things. So we are not oblivious of the question that I've raised, so but we are proactive on it. Last week we had a meeting with the AIG, with CP Ogun State, which is the immediate neighbor of Lagos State, and all arrangements have been concluded to even outside what we are doing to reach out to the people at the local level to have a joint community stakeholder meeting between these two states. So in the next few weeks, you see it happening. But above all, places like Commissioner of Police, like that of Oyo, that of Edo, that of Ogun, and equally far away, we're on the same page in ensuring that we exchange intelligences and ensure that we get this criminal out of Lagos before they commit that. Okay. A recent one is a wanted notorious ritual killer in Edo. If you watch part of your report, you discover that the house of the father was pulled down. He was arrested by a police team in Ikorodu, and he was sent back to Edo State for further investigation and prosecution. I equally know that the wanted criminal in Enugu State, who they call a billionaire ritual killer, was equally arrested here in Lagos, and we sent him back to Ogun State. So we have our intelligence on the ground with actively working. Then we have our tactical team that pin down all this violent crime. Okay. As we speak with you, we have hundreds of suspects that we are prosecuting in various courts in Lagos State as related to violent crimes. Well,
I don't know how you will respond to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. One of the, and it's something that my colleague talked about it earlier, that it would seem like we start the conversation about state police and then along the line it just fizzles out. Even yesterday, in that meeting with the president, the governor of Benue State still raised it. How is the police looking at that issue, the current issue of calls for state police?
Thank you so much. I think this is a national question and a question that have to do with the force. But as a commissioner of police, at least I have into some of the discussion. But I want to say, like, you take Lagos State, for example, if everybody, because if you permit me, I hope you're not going to charge me to take time up to appreciate the effort of Mr. Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Is first among all in ensuring that they give us all the support in ensuring that we do our work and our work become much more, carrying out our responsibility become much more easier. If every state can emulate what Lagos State is doing, I think the call for state police will go into the dustbin. Because if you look at the issue of state police with respect to people that are yearning for state police, but you discover that if I'm to serve in my state, for example, how many of my uncle and relatives can I arrest and put behind bar for offenses? Then if I'm from Kwara State, if I'm born and brought up in Lagos State, and there's going to be recruitment for police personnel in Kwara State, am I not entitled to go? How many of the area in Kwara State am I familiar with? If I'm from Taraba State, and I was born and brought up in Ogun State, and there's recruitment for police personnel in Taraba, am I not entitled to go? So, and if you look at it in the actual sense, how many state universities is better than the federal university? How many state secondary school is better than the state secondary school? Then even if you go down to the teaching hospitals, for now, even those who are to respond to fire incident, I don't want to mention it so that nobody take me up, was taken out of the police around 1963. Every state was asked to go and create their own fire service. But it was killed all along. It is now the Federal Fire Service that is expanding across the state of the Federation. But it's quite not too far. If you look at the correctional services, they are domiciled in the state. Every criminal act that's investigated by the police and equally being prosecuted in court and people are remanded to custody, they are taken to correctional service. Why can't they start from there? Take hold with much respect to let's demonstrate that first. But there's no doubt that state police is not the answer to our problem. Proper police funding that the federal government has taken it upon itself, much respect to the President Commander-in-Chief. He has done a lot of stride in ensuring that police is adequately funded. And the Inspector General of Police too have done a lot in ensuring that we improve on our efficiency, on our performance throughout the nook and cranny of this country. Okay. So we just want those who are concerned to continue to support the Nigerian police force to ensure that we remove all crimes and criminality from where we are. But a lot of people that are advocates of state policing, they don't look at where unitary policing is working. India today, we have the same policing system because we all get out of the Commonwealth. We are all part of the Commonwealth of British tradition. And we are still using the same policing structure. And it is a country of more than 1 billion people. If you look at China also, they have the same unitary kind of policing structure. So nobody go and dwell into that. But people who are calling for state police have their own reason why they are calling for it. But I don't think it's tenable for Nigeria now to go into state policing. Let's do our best to support the police like the Lagos state government is doing.
Okay.
And we'll be able to have it good.
All right, well, we'll take a short break for some messages, and when we return, my colleague in Abuja will join the conversation. Stay with us.
Welcome back. You're still watching Sunrise Daily, coming to you from both our studios in Abuja and Lagos. Well, we do have for you the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, CP Oluwadare Jimoh Moshoud. And Ayo has been asking him questions. Ayo, I have let you take the day because you live in Lagos and you will know if CP Moshoud has been pretty effective. So CP Moshoud, it's good to see you in my state. And I know that it cannot be easy to police a state of over 20 million people at the last count. And I do know that, you know, the police in Lagos State does have its work cut out for it. I've asked questions on social media platforms to ask if people have questions for you because they live in Lagos and they would know precisely just, you know, what the challenges that they are facing with security is. But this one is a question now from one of the people who has responded. He says his name is Sam Obeisang. He says his question is that the police stops anyone on bikes. They will check anything from his pockets to anywhere. He says this is around the Moshoud area of Lagos. So I do not know if it's something that you're aware of. Is this a policing policy? Is this something that you're currently doing to try and put a stop to crime?
Thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming me to Lagos, and it's quite some time we've been able to have one-on-one with you. So I appreciate that. I want to say that we know that previously, before now, the issue of traffic robbery, if you agree with me. But now we stamp it out completely because we introduce a lot of strategies and tactics to be able to get that one done. So if you're on a bike and you are more than one and you are slowed down, especially for area where there's no restriction for bike or car that popularly called to operate. Then if you are more than two, we have the responsibility to prevent crime by stopping you and searching what is the content. You might not know, we've been having issue on both ways. The bike man robbing the passenger, then the passenger too robbing the bike man. And before you can take a bike out of somebody's possession, there's going to be very serious violence, which at the end of the day can even lead to death of such a person. So it's part of the strategies to conduct what we call stop and search. We stop you, we search you. If nothing incriminating is found on you, then we allow you to go. So it's within our strategies to conduct stop and search frequently. And everybody has been lectured, the police person has been lectured, and it has been impressed on them of the good conduct to convey the habit of getting the people to comply without any element of force in doing that. So we have had it good in that regard. So the person that is writing the complaint, equally, I'm happy also that the person has not said that somebody has extorted money from him or her in respect of carrying this out operation. So stop and search is one of the crime prevention and control strategy that have been adopted by my administration, and it's working for us. Thank you.
All right, so that is certainly, I mean, it's good to know that you are aware of that. You've talked about response time. You've said that 10 minutes is about how long it takes to respond to complaints when you are called and you are aware of a situation. Does this also apply in rural areas, in places that are hard to reach, etc.? Because I know oftentimes when people talk about Lagos, they always imagine the cities, Ikeja, Lekki, VI, Ikoyi, but you know, Lagos also has some pretty difficult areas. How is policing extending to those areas?
I want to say that the 10 minutes you mentioned, maybe you missed me out. I've said that time has been further reduced to 5 minutes because, like I keep on saying, Mr. Governor recently has given us over 72 patrol vehicles, well equipped with communication gadgets. And these vehicles have been deployed across Lagos to strategic points to another location, which they can move out. Within 5 minutes, they can get to a distress point and address the issue. But for the rural area, we created tactical squad. We've been having flash occasional incident of violence around Ijede, which is in the creek. We've created another tactical squad, Imota and Ijede. The tactical squad in Imota covers the Ijede area, but when I came on board, we've created a separate tactical squad for all those rural areas. So virtually all the rural area and the difficult terrain, the tactical squads are there to ensure that violent crimes are prevented from those areas.
Okay, so that's for that. And then I see this question here from Adebukola, who wants to know about the sudden disappearance of RS vehicles at strategic places in Lagos.
I don't think that assertion is correct because the IRS are always on their pin down point, even when they go on what we call convoy patrol. It's not those that are placed in strategic location that are withdrawn. At the beginning of the program, I mentioned that that's what informed me in setting up the Eco Strike Force, so that we don't need to pull out those RRS or the divisional patrol team or that of the area commander are placed in strategic location. So that information, I believe, is not correct because we don't pull them out. There are times that maybe they go for service, and even where they are to go for service, their personnel will be on ground, and it's only the vehicle that will go for such service and return. So RRS with the fund, I'll keep on talking about Mr. Governor and the Inspector General of Police for the wonderful support they have been giving us in the Lagos State Police Command that lead to so many successes for us. So they are not being pulled out. Once the vehicle go for fueling and for service, for that period, the personnel are on ground. It's only the vehicle that will go and will return back. And we don't pull them out for any distress. The Eco Strike Force respond to all these distresses. And equally, the part of the RRS is a robust elite team, which the Eco Tactical Squad have come to complement. They have what we call the RRS monitor that go from point to point and fill in the gap if there's any of their vehicle that are being deployed for service or for fueling or for other duty. So, but above it all, personnel that are on RRS, anytime there's any reason why the vehicle will have to pull out, the men will remain on ground at that strategic point to ensure that there's no gap that is created for crime or criminality to be committed around the area.
Well, sadly, the person did not say specifically where he or she noticed the disappearance of these vehicles, but I do hope that your response there has satisfied their answer. I'm just a little curious. You know, Lagos is a really strategic place in the scheme of things in Nigeria, and I do know that we still have pretty, let's say, pretty sad memories of, you know, incidences that involve police brutality in the last couple of years. How would you say that the police has since evolved since the tragedy of the NSAS protests? Well, let's say the tragedy that came after the NSAS protests in Lagos in 2020.
Thank you so much, Mokwe. The current Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Adeolu, PhD, MPM, are brought in a lot of measure and a new impetus into ensuring that police behavior conform to international best practices. Series of lectures have been held across police divisions throughout Lagos and equally at the headquarters, sponsored and spearheaded by the Inspector General of Police Office to make sure that our behaviors conform to international best practices so that we don't have a repeat of what we experienced during the NSAS. Mind you, the NSAS was basically based on the falsehood from the situation in Delta State that never occurred. But I think it's a lesson for us to be able to improve on what we are doing to ensure that we don't have repeat of such. As I speak with you, we lost a lot of personnel, and we have family who are widowed because of the answers, and it's something that cannot easily go away from the mind. But because we are committed to providing security throughout the country, at the expense of even our life on daily basis, we put our life online to secure Nigerian. So the behavior of police personnel throughout Lagos State is virtually and completely different from what we had before the crisis of the ensigns. So, and if you go around Lagos, you see a new kind of behaviors in the personnel positively to the public.
Well, that's good to note. Just very quickly, and this has to do with social media, I also see that the police is very responsive to queries that are raised on social media. I think in that regard, your PRO is doing a pretty good job in that area. And something came up recently on social media involving a pastor, and we understand that the police has now invited the pastor for questioning. Is this correct?
Very correct, Mokwe. He was invited, a letter of invitation was sent to him. In fact, we have prepared a warrant of arrest in case he refuses to oblige and comply with the invitation. But he turned himself in, and he was questioned by teams of investigators who are already on the matter before even he was arrested, before he turned himself in, I mean. So the matter is still undergoing further investigation, and like the PRO have informed the public, what was recovered from the pastor is a stun gun. It's not a leather weapon, and it's not a firearm, but it's a prohibited riot equipment, and which we are investigating. And we further questioned him over why he pointed such to another individuals. And it's equally on social media that the person pointed the gun to is a content creator, and that we are taking the statement from him as soon as he equally get to us, because we have gotten his address and everything. Now we are going to get him to come and make statement in that regard. Nothing is an offense under the law except what the law stated to be an offense. Even under the Firearms Act, if you fashion out anything that doesn't even look, that is not metal, that like a wood, and make it to look like a gun, and you use that guises to take possession of property for another person, you have committed armed robbery. So by pointing out a stun gun to another individual, I'm sending that threat and fear to such a person at that particular time constitutes an offense. So, and the law stating the offense, like I said earlier, we say the procedure for which an offender should be treated, and it should be passed through. So the police, we are not doing our things. We are doing everything in line with the law, and in line of the extant provision of the Constitution creating the police force and the Police Act and other regulation that we are abiding with in carrying out our day-to-day activities. So the pastor is still under investigation, though he has been granted bail, but we'll continue the investigation and make the outcome of investigation public to all Nigerians to know.
You talked about the elections the other time, and one of the questions that naturally comes up is, so how is the police preparing for it? What are the things that people need to know? Is there going to be restriction of movement during the elections?
Thank you so much. I think the police is leading all the agency as have to do with security and safety for the election. And before now, we have met with the state electoral body. They are giving us their guidelines. They are giving us the date and schedules for all the activities for the election, and we are working in tandem with them on that. But I want the public, the Lagosians to know, and the electorate in Lagos to know that our plan is in 3 phases: the pre-election period, the election proper, and the post-election period. And this is a local government election, which is the grassroots election, and which can be more contentious, more than even the other elections, because this election is locally based. Then we are quite aware I'm familiar that people might want to disrupt the process. We've carried out that threat assessment to know were those areas that we needed to address before the election, and some are already being addressed. The others will call it be addressed, and we have made bold to seek the approval of the Inspector General of Police, IGP, PhD, MNI, to assist us with personnel from other contiguous states to be able to have personnel. The Lagos State is #1 when it comes to strength. We are not only relying that we have enough strength that is capable of guaranteeing a very safe and secure election, but we are going to get assistance from other neighboring states.
Do you have any idea
to have the deployment?
My apologies. Do you have any idea where there will be whether there will be restriction of movements?
That is going to be determined by the electoral body. If there's going to be restriction of movement, they will let us know with the state. But on our own, if there's going to be security threat that may threaten the election, then we have to ensure that we have forced restriction, which is going to be moderate. It's not going to shut down the entire state. We are not shutting down the entire state because we are going to ensure that we have enough personnel to police the entire election.
Recently, the IGP, you mentioned, came to town to commission 31 new gunboats in Lagos to enhance maritime security and combat crime on the waterways. How bad is that, and what are the strategies to combat crime on the waterways?
I think you are going to ask me how good it is.
Well, because for the IGP to have come here to commission 31 new gunboats in Lagos, it speaks to something.
Yes, that is part of the asset the Inspector General of Police have gotten for the Nigerian police force, procure for the force to better the maritime security of all the maritime domain that is under the Nigerian police force to police. Mind you, I was posted from the port authority in the Eastern Port before I became Commissioner of Police in Lagos, and I know the successes that we have achieved there, and equally know what are the challenges. So if 32 is sent to Lagos region with other Western states, is for you to know that the IG is passionate and committed and fully concerned to ensuring maritime security, because if we have an adequate deployment on land and on the shore and on the waterway, you can have infiltration of criminal elements, and that will put a stop to that. The gunboat is equally to ensure that people who engage in transit on the waterway are well protected. And equally in Lagos, you know, we have a lot of coastal settlements that are rural, and we have a lot of coastal settlements that are equally urban, and we have not had any single incident of security breach or threat or equally of violent crime. So this to build on to what we have before.
To prevent.
Yes, to prevent and to equally fight. Because a gunboat is not...
it's not for leisure.
It's not for leisure. It's not for picnic. It's to put the criminal element at bay. Yeah. And we have been succeeding in doing that. So kudos to the Inspector General of Police, IGP, looking at the Agbetokun in this regard. And those boats have started, they've been deployed, and they are currently patrolling all the waterway within Lagos, outside Lagos, and to all the western region.
I'm pretty sure that in a not too distant future, we'll have to bring you back again just to give us an update of what's happening in the city of Lagos, which is arguably the largest gathering of Nigerians
and the most peaceful in the country.
Well, if you say so. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Olawundare Jimo is Commissioner of Police in Lagos. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, that's the much of the show we can take today. Thank you for the privilege of being a part of your morning. I'm Ayo Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for watching. Business Morning is on top of the hour. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf. Goodbye.